Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is AES and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you have watched a video about my most anticipated video games with concrete release dates in 2021, you will notice that the first place in that ranking is the same game that is on deck for review today. I am a lover of roguelike titles and quote-unquote fair bullet style gunplay. I say the word fair in quotation because recently I played a bullet style centric title that ties the timer with the hero's health, and I thought it provided an unfair disadvantage in battle. Thankfully, the same disgruntled opinion cannot be stated with Returnal, as the game that received some criticism over its $70 price tag, as well as the first true exclusive on the PlayStation 5, Returnal has a lot riding on its shoulder. It was quite difficult for me to make a final judgment on the game. On one hand, I absolutely love it and I would certainly include it in my top 10 video games of 2021. On the other hand, the problems with Returnal start to pop up once you look at it as a roguelike game. What are my overall thoughts on the title? Time to find out. Without further ado, let us review Returnal, which was released this year and at the time of this video, it is exclusively available on the PlayStation 5. Story. This section of the review will be very brief because Returnal's tale is unapologetically perplexing, and I do not want to spoil the biggest surprises. In general, you play as Celine Vassos, an explorer from the Astra Corporation. You venture into a strange planet, and as you enter its atmosphere, your ship suffers major damage and crashes. You start to walk across the various landscapes, and if you are taken out by one of the planet's hostile foes, you are brought back to the crash site and realize that you are stuck in a Groundhog Day scenario. The goal for the game becomes clear: break the cycle while discovering the hidden secrets of the planet. The plot is not only about the extraterrestrial planet, but it is also about Celine and her past. Those were the only details that we'll provide about the narrative, but it is a story that is perpetually engrossing. The ending is spot on, and the secret ending, in addition to the audio logs and xenoglyphs, further adds intrigue and context to Celine and the planet itself. Returnal's story gets 2 thumbs up from me. Visual and audio design. The first aspect of the game's presentation that you will immediately notice is Celine's character model. It looks fantastic and made me excited for current and future video games on the PlayStation 5. Then you are dropped onto the planet and commence with unlocking doors and chests, killing wild creatures, and playing what is, in my opinion, the most visually striking bullet hell game I have ever played. The environments are great, and the monsters look intimidating. But what impressed me the most are those moments when those same nightmare-fueled creatures start to shoot their bullets at you. I will include some footage of the first boss, but it is mere child's play with its implementation of bullet artistry compared to the other worlds and bosses that you will explore during your time in Returnal. The final boss in particular is 100% spectacular. I will let you discover it on your own. While the graphics undoubtedly have a positive impact on the players, the audio design is far above in terms of quality. Fully utilizing the PlayStation 5's 3D audio feature, Returnal is one heck of an immersive title. The shrieks from the planet's habitats, the rain that tries to mask a sense of comfort from Celine, and the music that perfectly hits the tone of each situation are masterfully executed. The latter is especially awe-inspiring. One moment you walk into a room, see a giant artifact, and listen to an eerie tune that levels up the narrative's mysterious nature. Another moment will have you walk into a room only to be blitzed by enemies. Within seconds, the creators of the title soundtrack will let you know that you are in for a fight, and they lend a hand by hyping you up with a bumping tune. The other excellent detail about the game's sound design is the voiceovers. They are enthralling across the board, with Jane Perry, the actress behind Celine herself, earning the bulk of my personal endorsement. You can tell that the main protagonist is not only confused about the planet's true nature, but also about the reason as to why she's on the planet in the first place. I adored the voiceover work here. If I would rate Returnal solely on presentation, it would unquestionably be a 10 out of 10. However, we all know that the video game has more characteristics than merely presentation. Before we continue, I would like to say that there is one point during my time with Returnal yesterday where the audio glitched out for me. It has not happened before or since then, but I felt that it was important for you to be aware about it.
Oh my gosh. Bro! I'm dying because I can't concentrate. Bro, are you serious?
Let us keep the train rolling with the next category for the review. Gameplay. Up until this point in the video, you would assume that the final score is a 10 out of 10, since I did nothing but praise Returnal. However, it is here in the gameplay department where a few problems surface. We will cover the core mechanics before we go into specific grievances. If you have ever played a roguelike game like Rogue Legacy and Risk of Rain 2, the basic idea is the same here. You take baby steps to advance in the campaign, and if you die, you go back to your origin point and start again. When it comes to Returnal, there are other features that are noteworthy. While partaking in the roguelike series of sequences, you play a traditional third-person shooting title with the ability to dodge akin to Mass Effect Andromeda's jetpack and evading bullets in the same vein as Nier Automata. You also interact with various collectibles, ranging from currency to purchase to run specific upgrades, to ethers that allow you to access a feature that we will discuss shortly. You can also collect these purple glowing objects, and they are divided into 3 categories. The first item will give you a buff and a debuff to your character. It can increase your maximum integrity or health, but it can inflict damage if you fall from high areas. The second item will either increase your maximum health or heal your character, but there's a small or big chance that it will infect your character with a malfunction. These malfunctions can either be mild or extremely harmful. An example of a malfunction is one that lowers your protection or defense by 30%. You can use Ether to gain access to this type of item without experiencing the malfunction, but I will advise against it unless you are in need of health. The reason for the suggestion will be discussed later in the video. If you do happen to be affected by malfunction, you must complete a certain task to get rid of it. During one of my interactions with the malfunction, the map was scrambled, and I had to use one of my collected power-ups to get rid of the malfunction. This type of item is also replicated with parasites. These parasites don't give you a malfunction or don't require ethers to alleviate the negative impact of them, but these parasites merely replicate the buff and debuff feature of the items with the malfunctions. The third purple item is called the Resin, which will either slightly damage you or it will increase your maximum integrity. The majority of your time with the gameplay will be focused on fighting enemies. There are also short moments where you investigate a house in first person. These scenes are very creepy and lore heavy, so we will not spend too much time with them here. A good chunk of the game also revolves around exploring the environments for either collectibles or hidden rooms. There are 4 types of rooms. If the door is red on the map, it is locked, which will ask you to gather keys, unlock it, and defeat the world's main boss. If the door is light blue on the map, it will lead you to the next destination in the story. If it is dark blue, it will include one of many possibilities, the biggest of which is an empty chamber with a shadowy figure that will ask you for 6 ethers. What is the purpose? Well, it is a checkpoint. If you come across them, I recommend that you spend your ethers here. You will thank me later for that piece of advice. The last type of door will be yellow. These doors will serve as 3-wave gauntlets of increasingly challenging enemies. These rooms can be tough, as the number and types of enemies may provide an assortment of bullets that are either extremely fast or too numerous to timely dodge. Speaking of enemies, let's talk about them for a bit, shall we? You have the traditional grunts. You have mini bosses that have a little more health than the common foes. You have the main bosses per world, and they require you to step up your game. In terms of difficulty, I had the biggest issues when it comes to overcoming the third boss of the game. Each boss has 3 phases, and the third boss's third phase, goodness gracious. Nonetheless, I still believe that the most difficult foes in the game are the elite enemies. They will randomly show up from time to time, and you can spot them because they have a single phase and their health bar is teetering between yellow and orange. These monsters may only have one phase, but they have about 3 different types of attack that can go off simultaneously at any given moment. Returnal is not an easy game by any stretch of the imagination, unless you are very skillful with bullet style video games like Ikaruga. The elite enemies serve as testament to that statement. It is time to talk about my issues with Returnal. In fact, there are 2 of them. One of them is a problem for me, while the other is one with which I was not personally upset. However, I can see why many gamers are angry by that issue. The first issue focuses on one of the worlds in the game, the Ice Stage, which is a prelude to the final boss of the game. After you defeat the first 4 bosses, you're taken to an icy environment, where you must find 3 keys. These keys will unlock a giant door that will lead you to one of the many permanent pieces of equipment that allows you to advance to the final area of the game. The problem lies with the length of the Ice Age, accompanied by a noticeable increase in difficulty due to the configuration of enemies. I did not have nearly as many difficulties with overcoming a world's foes as I did with the Ice Age. I understand that it prepares the players for the last confrontation of the title, but it lasts a little bit too long for my taste. This nuisance carries over to the issue that I did not mind, but may be a make it or break it moment for many gamers: Returnal's rules for its status as a roguelike experience. If you have never played a roguelike game, I will give you a summary of the common rules. You play the game, you die, and then you start over. Per the genre's most iconic titles, you are able to keep permanent upgrades, and this mechanic maintains a sense of hope to improve your skill and character and eventually beat the game. As far as Returnal is concerned, those rules are poorly executed for the most part. When you die, you keep a few permanent upgrades such as equipment and additional slots for your power-ups, but everything else, from the weapons to the power-ups themselves, and the upgrades to the quantity of your health meter, are gone. This predicament would not be an issue if the game started you off at the beginning of the world where you experience your demise. It is not the case with Returnal though. Here's the deal. If you die at any point during your adventure in the first 3 worlds, you are brought back to the beginning of the first world. If you die at any point during your adventure in the last 3 worlds, you are brought back to the beginning of the 4th world. The good news is that any acquired equipment could lead to shortcuts to your last visited world. You also do not have to beat previously defeated bosses. Furthermore, there are a couple of artifacts that prevent you from starting over. You can collect astronaut figures, which are extremely rare, but they revive you if you fall in battle. You can also do what I mentioned earlier with the ethers, use them to mark a station for a checkpoint. If you die, you will be revived there. You will go back to the starting point if you fail again, but it will at least give you another chance in the same world. The bad news is the length of each typical run, which can last an hour per attempt. It is exactly what I experienced in the Ice World. It took me 5 attempts to beat that level, which means I spent 5 hours going from the 4th world to the 5th world and then trying to get those 3 keys. If it wasn't for the gratifying gunplay, it would be a deal breaker for me. Even so, I will certainly understand if the prospect of revisiting procedurally generated environments over and over to accomplish a single task does not convince you to rush out to the store and buy a copy of Returnal. Trophy impressions. Depending on your struggles, or lack thereof, with the title's enemies, earning the Platinum Trophy will be more of a grinding endeavor than a challenge. To get your hands on the Platinum Trophy, you must complete the game, discover the secret ending, and proceed with several miscellaneous tasks. The most tedious assignments will ask you to play the 6 worlds over and over again until you find all of the collectibles. This process is heavily impacted by a random system. You may find all of the collectibles after a few playthroughs. Your friend may find all of the collectibles after 20 playthroughs of each world. The experience will be different for each individual. Nevertheless, if you manage to beat Returnal and find the secret ending, then your ability to earn the Platinum Trophy is not dependent on whether or not you can do it, but rather how long it will take you to do it. Fun factor. Despite the annoyance with the Ice World, I immensely enjoyed my time with Returnal. The procedurally generated nature of the game and the thought of one more run invited me back to further attempts during the main campaign and after it was conquered. I'm not sure if I will go out of my way for the Platinum Trophy because Resident Evil Village is releasing this coming week and the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is coming out a week afterwards. But rest assured that I will always have Returnal installed in case I have the urge for, well, one more run. When should you pick it up? And the options are day one, on sale, rental, or never. The answer will be multi-layered. If you like games such as Hades and The Binding of Isaac, or enjoy gaming experiences that are challenging yet satisfying, Returnal is easily a launch day pickup. If you do not mind roguelike titles but are concerned about Returnal's difficulty, I think that you should look at the game when it is on sale. Now, if you are not fond of roguelike video games, I would personally avoid the title. Returnal is the most unforgiving roguelike experience I have ever played, and it would only make you further dislike the genre. In the end, Returnal is an excellent start to the slew of PlayStation 5 exclusives that we will receive from here on out. The story is intriguing from start to finish, the presentation is sensational, and the gameplay is very entertaining. With that being said, Returnal is not a game for everyone. If you're not a fan of roguelike titles, you may want to stay away. If you're not a fan of the save system in the game, you may want to wait for a price drop. If you're a fan of consistently rewarding experiences that are challenging at parts, confusing at some, and memorable all around, I cannot recommend the game enough for you. I will give Returnal from 2021 a 9.8 out of 10. Well folks, that is the end of the review. Thank you so much for checking it out. Have you played Returnal? Are you interested in it? Why or why not? Also, what are your thoughts about the save feature in the game? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Till next time, have a great day or evening wherever you are. My name is AES, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.